the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
And here we go, a Thursday show, Big D Energy. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule today, as he is still, I believe, in Florida doing his thing. And,
candy corn, Big D!
Is that what he's down there in Florida doing? Is he trying to find, like...
candy corn. Didn't you see that guy? Look at that. Look at that, right when he gets in. I think he's on a covert candy corn mission, because everywhere he goes, it seems to show up. So I'm a little sus.
Not in like Wisconsin, Milwaukee, or something stupid like that.
Where is the candy corn capital of the world? Is that Iowa? Because I feel like if they didn't
Iowa,
corner the candy corn market in Iowa, they missed out.
No, I don't know if it's the candy corn capital, but Iowa has a corn palace.
All right.
Doesn't Iowa have the greatest truck stop, too? Like the largest one? Anyways.
I don't know.
It's Texas.
Texas is. No, that's a state. Yeah.
No, Texas has the largest
Truck stop?
Truck stop. It's isn't it? It's named after a beaver. Is it?
No comment.
No.
She sounds friendly.
No, it's Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's has the largest truck stops, and Iowa's second.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Even
If you're in Texas, you got to go to Buc-ee's.
Okay. Where's it at? Just all over Texas?
There's like several of them.
Bucky Beaver.
And they're these huge truck stops. In fact, some of them have up to 100 pumps.
Some beavers have up to 100 pumps?
They have 100 pumps.
Oh.
They smoke meat.
Mm-hmm.
They
Sure do.
Wait.
Sure do.
Talking about truck stops and lot lizards. What are we talking about?
They have candy corn. Here's smart ass. Why don't you Google it when you get off the air?
I love how you just said lot lizards.
Well, what's he talking about?
No. You
Smoking
mentioned the
meat
largest
and
truck
taking
stop.
pumps.
100 pumps.
It's going to be a fun show today. Welcome to Big D Energy right here on WoodwardSports.com. My name is Stick. That is Darren McCarty. Of course, Terry is back today. He was at the dentist yesterday. He went and picked up a nice red hat, too. Looking mighty fine today,
Well, I
Terry.
got the red hat before the dentist.
Okay.
Now, the wife, she said, I don't care about you going to the dentist. I still have to take my son to the airport. So I'm like, well, my mouth hurts. She's like, so?
So you manned up and did
How
it?
was your dentist experience? Because that's...
Yeah, I have a guy that does root canals.
Yeah.
And I told him he's the Michael Jordan of root canal people. He just goes in there, and it doesn't kill you. It takes a while, but he's really good at it.
Now, yes, I've had a lot of teeth issues. The top ones aren't mine. The bottom ones are. But the root canal never bothered me. Right? Like, I hear a lot of people have to go in for a root canal and they fret it. But you said, like, there are some surgeons out there or dentists that can, that's not the, to me, it's the needle. Taking the freezing and all that different stuff.
Well, my dentist, when you get the needle, he does this to your, he moves your cheeks up and down. It's supposed to
distract you,
yeah.
It's like a baby. D-Mac, is there something like that you are afraid of that doesn't make sense, like needles or
like needles.
something sissy? Okay.
No, I don't know.
I'll tell you.
Like, see, and I'm grateful being an addict, right? So I never crossed that path of the needles or whatever like that because of the fear, right? Because I don't like them. I mean, every time. I mean, I've had cortisone injections and. Those are the worst injection you can get is probably cortisone because they put it in. Here's a remote. It's about this big. This is the gauge of the needle.
Yep.
And I remember I had to take 2 in my right shoulder during the 97 or 98 playoffs, and I remember I almost broke Drapes' hand because I made him hold my hand during it. I was squeezing, and he was yelling the whole time. I can't look away. The worst thing about the mouth freezing though is like it's that hour after you're done, finally you got through smelling your teeth burning and all that inconvenience, and then that freezing has to go out. That last few minutes of that freezing coming out, the Novocaine.
But you know what I do when they freeze my mouth?
Hate that.
I chew on my lip because you can't feel it, and then afterwards you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that because it hurts after the freezing.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But today you feel good?
I feel good today.
You had breakfast. No big deal.
I haven't eaten anything really hard, but I had oatmeal today.
Okay.
Your porridge.
Your business as usual, though.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm back now.
Okay.
Well, welcome back, Terry Foster. Flannel Sam, of course, wearing a flannel, doing his thing in the sound booth. We have Spencer Raxter in the building. We're going to be talking a lot of Detroit sports, as you know. Some other things around the nation going on. Lions having some injury issues. We're going to talk about that. Red Wings talk coming up later on today. Pistons talk coming up later on today. A lot of stuff to handle. But really just happy to have Terry back. We had a big show yesterday, Terry, and I think we missed you sitting in that chair.
Well, I miss sitting in this chair, and I'm happy to be back.
And I know you had a question for Spencer right off the rip.
Yes.
Like, let's just get into it.
I was watching the little heavy-duty guys, you and Easy.
The heavy-duty guys?
The heavy-duty guys. Is that the name of the show, the heavy-duty guys?
Yeah.
Or you the fat guys? But anyway, Spence was so frustrated with Easy because the last game the Lions lost, it was like 115 to 112, whatever it was. Easy took the easy way out and blamed Jared Goff for the loss because of one pick six.
Yeah.
And then you were trying to say, dude, are you serious? You kept trying to say, dude, really? And I could see you getting frustrated.
Yeah, I was getting pretty frustrated. He kept saying the difference in the game was that pick six. They scored 45 points. It would have been 41 if you didn't throw the pick six for Seattle. And I was like, man, you can't expect to win a game if your defense gives up 41 points.
Yeah, 41,
but actually, that's not right. They still could have lost with the pick six because Seattle had the ball and ran out the clock. Mm-hmm. They could have scored again if they wanted.
They easily could have scored again. I'm not going to say it's our quarterback's fault when our defense doesn't force the other team to punt once the entire game.
There is that.
I think that what he was. No, I'm not going to speak for Easy, but I tried to make the point.
Trying to make sense of it.
I tried to make the point, and I got some feedback on it on Monday, and I didn't get to it. But when I said Jared Goff and the Lions, right, as well as he plays, we don't have the luxury. Yes, I know every top interceptions are a part of the game, and every top quarterback throws interceptions in the league, and Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't throw, and he just threw a pick six last week, and I know this happens. What I'm saying is we don't have the luxury, right, out of anything else because our defense is that bad. So Jared Goff is already put behind the 8 ball by the fact that he can't afford to give up a pick, let alone for a possession, let alone a pick six. So we don't definitely have the luxury of doing that. He's going to do it, but again, come on. I mean, that's just like the easy
Nobody
way
scores
out.
40 points in the NFL.
Yeah.
You don't score.
Nobody scores 40 points and lose in the NFL,
right.
Terry.
Well, that was funny because I was there when that episode was going on because it was on our Monday nights, and
you getting a lap dance?
I was sitting very close to them, and off to the side talking to some fine ladies, and you could just see it in Spence's eyes. He was trying everything in him not to rip his paper, turn around, and just scream at Easy. And then Easy kept playing the clip of Dan Campbell mentioning the pick six too. Like that validated his whole argument. Right. And I'm sitting over there just like this, looking at Spencer like.
Well,
and
don't Spence.
And as soon as they went to break, I go, Easy, that's the dumbest take I've ever heard.
Spence, you know what you should have done?
What's that?
Should have shot him.
Problem solution. Problem solution.
That take was done.
All right. We're trying to not to go wake up and choose violence. Good to see that.
No, that one was worth violence.
Okay, you're right. But can I get into it a little bit more and just say, but to Easy's point, when the coach comes out and sort of says it, but I want to take the different tack that I think Dan Campbell went in there and saying that he had to have had a conversation with Goff before saying, hey, I'm going to come out, I'm going to sort of put it on you.
Throw you on the grenade.
Throw you out because we can't let everybody know about the defense or whatever. It just seemed to me it was more tactical on that as with
trying to take heat off Aaron Glenn.
That's what I said. Yeah.
And Aaron Glenn, the coaches work together every night. So he's probably, someone he likes. That's his boy. He said, I'm going to take the heat off of him. That's why at press conferences, you can't believe everything.
But
people say.
but here's the thing: the way Goff reacted and the way that when it was asked or whatever, this is what you like. It's a conversation that has seemed to have gone on in-house before they took it out of house. Whereas I look at situations like down the road, like I'm going to use Cleveland as an example with Baker Mayfield as their quarterback. If this would have came out of there last year when he was there, he would have fired right back because there was no communication in the building. So, I mean, I looked, that doesn't mean it was wins and losses, but it could mean the way that they're operating inside the building together.
So what do you think about Jared Goff leadership then in that he's willing to dive on that grenade and not make a big deal afterwards like a Baker Mayfield would have done?
I've seen his leadership since the second half of last year.
Okay.
I think he's that quiet leader.
I think we really need to acknowledge that Jared Goff is, I'm going to say the word special, because not special as a quarterback, but special as a leader, because a lot of guys would have said, this asshole just blamed me for this game. I put up 40-something points. I'm like the player of the week in the NFL. They would have gone off because egos are so big in professional sports. So the fact that Jared Goff didn't make a big deal out of it, I'm going to give him credit for that.
I think Terry brings up a great point, too, to the fact of, we're always focusing on the dollar and focusing on his touchdown ability to can he stand in the pocket, is he tough enough? But part of his leadership being a quarterback of the Lions to get out of where we're at is exactly what Terry's talking about. So hats off to Jared Goff for doing that.
Yeah, I was watching a video today actually on Twitter, and it was just kind of he was mic'd up during the game, and it was like a 2-minute, 20-second video of what he was talking about during the game. And really, at the very, very end, when they lost the game, and he tells the defense, if you guys get this onside kick, we're going to win the game. Obviously, they didn't get the onside kick. Ben Johnson looks at Jared Goff and is like, hey, I'm sorry. And Jared Goff's like, no, brushes that away. He's like, don't be sorry. He's like, but man, we play hard. Man, we play hard. So even though they took that devastating loss, he was still focused on how hard his team was fighting, and I thought that was another feather in his cap.
And your job is, if they get the onside kick, you're supposed to take it down and score. That's your mentality.
And they would have. Does anybody believe they wouldn't have scored if they got that onside kick?
Yeah, they would have scored.
Nobody was stopping anybody in that game.
Yeah. So that was such a huge moment. But it's just cool. I'm glad Jared Goff's starting to get the damn respect he deserves. Not only has he taken one team to a Super Bowl, what he's dealing with now here in Detroit with this rebuild, and understanding like, damn, man, this is tough here in Detroit. But also keeping that, diving on grenades for coaches, not teammates, coaches.
Well, that's culture.
Right.
That's crazy.
And because, they can still ship your ass out. There is no guarantee Jared Goff is going to survive the Detroit Lions after this season. And then Dan Campbell does something like that to him. I thought that was unfair, uncalled for, and kind of stupid.
And that's Easy. That's what I was saying, because Easy, like you said, Easy kept playing the clip of Dan Campbell saying the pick six, blah blah blah, and I was like, yeah, he's doing damage control for Aaron Glenn, who's getting absolutely bodied. And he's like, no, it's not damage control. He said the defense didn't play well. I was like, well,
see,
if he was being honest,
disappoints me.
Yeah.
Easy is like my son now. And I try to educate the boy and tell him, you just can't listen to everything coaches say. There's agenda sometimes. You got to think for yourself.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it.
I was like, if he was being honest and letting the defense had it, he would have said they were complete shit, because that's what they were. He wouldn't have said, oh, they didn't play well. He would have said they were completely terrible.
Yeah, Aaron Glenn said that today, too, when he was talking in his press conference. They were asking him, hey, what takeaways do you have? He's like, there's no takeaways. There was nothing good that happened on film.
Burn the boats.
Yep, that's one you just throw away and hope you never, ever see again.
Hey,
what did you learn? Nothing.
Right.
We stink.
Yep, get rid of it. We learned we don't want to do that again, ever.
Now that film you want to burn. But you can't. You got to look at it and see what the mistakes
But you know
made.
that it's out there.
Yeah.
Last year was the Philly game, right?
Hey, Adam, we can hear you guys, and it's time for Sam to go to Guardian Alarm. So we appreciate you hanging out during the show, but we got things to do, buddy. Love you.
We love having you with your members only jacket.
Hey, real quick, Stick, before we go on the Woodward Sports WoodwardSports.com and the WoodwardSports.com chat. People are wondering, where's your brace? How's the, give us an update on the hand.
We're fully flexible again, baby.
You got a big update for tonight? Let everybody know.
Playing Space Dog softball tonight. Last game of the regular season, denim night. I'm going hard.
Because why? Because you're going to see what?
I'm going to see if I'm capable to play in the playoffs. If I suck tonight, I'm not going to do that to my team. I'm not going to play in the playoffs. But if I'm good, it's on, baby. Playoffs next week.
You know what? That reminds me so much of what Guardian Alarm can do for you guys. Because right now, not only for Stick, but it's a perfect time to make sure you have peace of mind and home security from Guardian Alarm. The most trusted name in home and business security with 24/7 monitoring. You're going to have the peace of mind knowing you're being backed by the best. So if you want to be part of the Woodward Sports Big D Energy family,
Big D,
you know what to do. Give them a call. 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
143 straight days of flannel protection by Guardian Alarm. Your local security experts. Give them a call today. 1-800.
Stay out.
Get out of my house. Everybody needs Guardian Alarm. Tell them Big D Energy sent you.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Rivet Thursday, Big Frog here. Get a free Woodward Sports t-shirt. That's right, a free Woodward Sports t-shirt all month long at Big Frog in Novi. Stop in, let them know we sent you. They'll print you one up, boom, right on the spot. Go to Big Frog Novi today. Get your free t-shirt or visit them online, bigfrog.com/Novi.
Rivet. Welcome back to Big D Energy, live on the Woodward Sports Network at woodwardsports.com. Thank you to everybody who's downloaded the app, and thank you to everybody in the woodwardsports.com chat today. We appreciate you contributing to the shows. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule. Darren McCarty is here. Terry Foster is here. Flannel Sam is here. And, of course, Spencer Raxter. And Lions had a practice yesterday. I don't know how they had a practice because, 87 guys were out, but the B squad practice. Let's go over the list of injured players, and I'm just going to highlight some of the guys. Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, Josh Reynolds, DJ Chark, TJ Hawkinson, Frank Ragnow, Quintez Cephas, limited in practice, Taylor Decker, Jonah Jackson, and there's a ton more up there too, but those are kind of the main players. Terry, I want to start with you on this one.
Yes, sir.
Is that concerning, this many injuries this point in the season, or is that just football?
Well, it is football, and it is concerning. But I'm wondering if Dan Campbell, since he was a former player, is allowing guys to take some days off and say that they're injured.
Is this load management?
Yeah, load management. There are some coaches who have real long injury lists in the middle of the week, and then it kind of gets smaller at the end. And I still have to figure out Dan Campbell. Now, the only thing that concerns me is a bunch of guys didn't play last week. So, but is he just like, hey, look, Wednesday, we don't need you. Come back by Friday, play Sunday, and then I'll put you back on the injury list again. So I'm wondering if this is a load management thing, or is this really there's a bunch of guys injured and there's a big threat they couldn't play this week.
D-Mac, what do you think about that? Because you've been in the locker room with teams like this. Is sometimes the injury report just to kind of get some guys more rest during the week?
Well, I mean, I'm not exactly sure within football. I look at do a little bit of a deeper dive, and you look at Quintez Cephas. It says foot, new injury. You look at Hawkinson. He's back with his injury that he was on for his hip from week 3. So, would you rather have a guy with a new injury on the list or the recurring injury so that you know that they have? I think at the end of the day, we look to see what the report is. Obviously, practically nobody practiced, not even limited practices. A few guys we look today, but it's just like asking some former NFL guys and stuff like this. Friday's really, if you're not in Friday, then that's when it really dictates about Sunday. I just saw something come across ESPN that DeAndre Swift is unlikely for Sunday. So,
what do you get out of a practice though when it's all backups? Like, is there really even any point to practicing at that point? Or can you just do walkthroughs?
You answered your own question, Stick, when you saw the offense with nobody you knew put up 40 points. So that's what it's going to do. You're going to get repetition. You still got your leader out there in Goff. You got, Tom Kennedy signed from the practice squad that Sam Flannel loves and stuff like this. So there's things to be done. In the whole scheme of things, I don't think To me, my question back to Terry is Dan Campbell, with whether it's load management or whatever, but in training camp, remember how he wanted us to trust him in Hard Knocks and get the pads on early, and is this a detriment to it, or are we witnessing earlier in the season what every team's going to witness throughout the season, no matter in training camp if we go pads early like we did or not?
Yeah, well, preseason and the regular season are two different animals. Preseason, you want to hit somebody. You want your guys having pads on, and they go at it. Then when the season begins, you got that Sunday where you're basically killing each other. And the only day you really get off is Tuesday. So Wednesday is a day. Monday is the day where everybody gets massages, and they try to get them back together. They're off Tuesday. And then sometimes on Wednesday, you're like, you know what, guys, hey, you rest that body up another day.
Is this more the new NFL, so to speak? Because I think
it's the new NBA, so it may be translating into the NFL.
You know what I'm saying? We're Tuesday, Wednesday. Is the show up? We're returning into it more than it used to be. Did Wednesdays? Correct me if I'm wrong. Where guys would come back off a day off, you almost. And in hockey, it was the same thing, right? If you had a day off, you're going to get a bag skate. It's like punishment for getting a day off. And I think nowadays in all sports, though, your day off isn't punishment. It's more of a preparation. I think, 2022, we know a lot more, about the diet, about exercise, about preparation. I know in hockey it's about core and stuff. Before it was about, lifting a barbell.
Right. Yeah, no, they've definitely perfected the human body and how to train it for these sports now.
And once again, I'm saying I'm trying to learn what Dan Campbell's about. Maybe these are legit injuries, but really, you could go through your roster and put everybody on the injured list because everybody is injured. So,
are you hurt or are you injured?
Right.
There's a difference.
So, but I'm wondering, curiously, in my own mind, is he a guy that's like wants to be a little bit more protective of players and just saying, just take this extra day off and maybe I can get you fresh and get you back for Sunday.
Ricky Bobby here in the WoodwardSports.com chat says, anybody starting to think that Dan Campbell is using injuries to keep his job as kind of like an excuse? That's something to think about. But Flannel Sam, of all the people on that list, who are you most concerned about?
Most concerned, it's tough because you're looking at your entire skill position unit not practicing at all, and that is very, very concerning. I'm mostly concerned about Josh Reynolds and TJ Hawkinson because without DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and DJ Chark last week, the offense still put up 45 points, and it was guys like Josh Reynolds and TJ Hawkinson who stepped up huge. But then you look at a guy like Frank Ragnow. He's the captain of the offensive line. He didn't practice. He's had nagging injuries all season. And even a guy that you wouldn't expect me to say, but Chris Board. Chris Board, I'm not a fan of his as a linebacker, but if he doesn't play, if he doesn't practice, who the hell are the Lions going to put at linebacker at this point? Because the linebacking core is so weak, and Chris Board on a normal linebacking core wouldn't start, but this one, he's probably their second best, non-edge rusher linebacker after Malcolm Rodriguez. So this is a team that looks to be, I wouldn't say decimated by injuries, but when you look at this big list of people who don't practice, That's obviously not a good thing. Do I think they'll all miss Sunday's game? Absolutely not. But it's still such a glaringly big list for this early in the season. And of course it's a concern, particularly for a team that's 1-3 and can't afford to just keep having people miss games.
Terry, do you find that because you mentioned about Dan Campbell, you're learning from him being a former player, that former players treat their team, more like they wanted to be treated, like give them that extra day off? Is it because he's a former player, because he knows what going through the grind's like?
I would say former players who played in the last 10 years.
Okay.
Because maybe a guy that played in the 70s and is a coach may not understand it as much. But Dan Campbell knows anytime you go out there on Sunday, man, it's rough. So I'm curious if he's saying, you know what, let me err on the side of with a caution with these guys, with their livelihoods, with their bodies, because I don't care if I have him on Wednesday. I care about if I have him on Sunday. And maybe he, in his mind, he's believing if I give him an extra day off, that they'll be fresher for Sunday. And I'll go back. I remember a coach, Ray Perkins. He used to have 3-a-days during training camp.
Damn right. That's when men were men.
And guess what he did not have?
Players at the end of the season?
His guys complained their legs were done by the fourth or fifth game of the season. But you know what? You're a man. You showed them. But
rub some dirt on it and get out there.
Your players couldn't perform.
That's on them.
Whatever.
I miss the old days when men were men and they would go play professional football, then go work in the coal mines. That's when sports were real. Spence, are you worried about all these injuries?
I don't know if I'm worried per se, because Dan Campbell did say we're giving some guys a rest day, so some of them are that. I'm kind of worried about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Me and Easy were talking about what if it's a little worse than we might think, because like we said, they brought up Tom Kennedy from the practice squad, signed him to the main roster. They had Mohamed Sanu in the building yesterday to talk to him and work him out and see what's going on there. So I'm a little worried that Amon-Ra St. Brown might miss more games than we think originally when he was first taken off the list. So that's the one thing that kind of concerns me.
You know what brings my red flag up too? That little guy's tough as the nails.
Yeah.
So you've seen him to keep him out, to not only in practice and stuff like this, and you see his work ethic and we hear about it. So usually from history is when guys like this are out of the lineup. To Spencer's point, it might be more to a 4, 6, 8 week. One of the things I looked at in the Woodward Sports chat here is the fact that if you look around other teams where injuries are, that's the number one, availability is number one, but we don't have season-ending injuries.
Right.
You look at
that's nice.
You look at Jerry Jacobs, you look at Pascal on the 21-day evaluation list, which means that they could be back after the bye week. So hopefully when Terry revisits this about Dan Campbell and he says, I think I know what he's doing, and you look at ABC, he's resting guys on Wednesdays, and look at how they're being able to play all these different guys. So we'll have to wait for what is your tell, Terry? Is it performance on the field on Sundays? Is it getting guys back more in the lineup, and then we don't worry about it?
I think it's more of, I'm a former player. I know how I felt on Monday or Wednesday or whatever day. And I've got guys who are banged up a little bit. I'm giving them an extra day off. And if I have to put them on the injured list or some list, it doesn't matter on Wednesday. So I'm going to protect my guys.
So this is the continuing conversation that we saw in Hard Knocks where he said, guys, you have to trust me.
Right.
You might not want to do it, but I know better than you. We're going to get out there in pads and prepare, right? This is the same thing as he's saying, guys, I know what it takes, so we're going to take a little. So it'll be interesting I'll be watching that too, Terry.
Well, the injuries are piling up for the Lions, and so are the toppings on French fries at Big Boys. I'm telling you, they got loaded fries, they got the baked potato fries, the nacho fries, the chili cheese fries, the Big Jim burger, bacon blue burger, chili cheeseburger. I'm telling you, you want stuff loaded down your fries, there's only one place to go, and that is your local Big Boy. Locations all over Metro Detroit. Go get them today. Go to bigboy.com and check out their menu.
Burgers and fries.
So good.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Chili Peppers Tanning, where you will find the cleanest salons in the D, and it's at homecoming season, so you know you want to look right. Make sure you go get a spray tan, make you look real good, real quick, and Chili Peppers Tanning does a great job with their spray tannings. None of that running stuff where it looks all cheap. No. You're going to look like you've been spending months just tanning on a natural beach within minutes. Just go to Chili Peppers Tanning, the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, plus the darkest tans.
Chili Peppers tan.
Butt crack full of sand. When we asked them about that, because, obviously we met with the owners, we're like, well, who came up with that? And they were like, the people who write jingles, they asked us if we could do a little something weird, and we were like, yeah, we don't have a problem with it. And then when they heard it, they loved it. So
it's great.
That's where Butt Crack Full of Sand came. Little history on Chili Peppers Tanning right here on Big D Energy. Thank you to everybody watching on woodwardsports.com right now. Make sure you check out some of those articles. A lot of them written by our own Terry Foster, who's joining the show with us today, along with Darren McCarty, Flannel Sam, and of course Spencer Raxter. We were talking about Lions injuries. Let's talk about some rankings that came out for the Detroit Lions. They're number 1 in offense. They're number 32 in defense. By my math, if we average that out, they should be right around 16, right?
Yeah.
Right? Nope, that's not the way it works. PFF has the Lions rated 30th. Only the Washington Commanders and the Houston Texans are worse than the Detroit Lions. Do you guys buy that, or is that BS?
We're the 1 and 3. And so your record says, what you are. So, yeah, I buy that. They shouldn't be 16. If they were 2 and 2, maybe they would be 16.
But we could be 3 and 1, Terry.
But you're not.
But you're not.
You're not. I hear this all the time. We could be 8 and 4. We could be 6 and 1. No, you're 2 and 6, or you're 1 and 7, or something like that. That's what your record is. And I did this stupid experiment a few years ago, where you get this thing from every NFL fan. You know what? We could be 6 and 2 right now. We just had a couple bad breaks. We lost by 1 score, so we're 3 and whatever. So I did an experiment. Every team that lost by 1 score, I gave them a victory. Do you know what the worst record would have been in the National Football League?
12 and 4.
9 and 7.
9 and 7.
9 and 7, which is mathematically impossible. But that's what fans around the league say. Every time you lose by 6 points or less, we should have won that game.
And what's the NFL?
It's a parity league.
It's built for 1 score. How you're going to get there, right? Whether it's up by 35 and then the other team comes back and scores 21 or 27, or is it back and forth? I think what this tells you, right? What this tells you is how your defense is viewed across the league, because your offense is good, and maybe
the best.
Maybe they
we the best,
but maybe they don't consider it consistently, right? But they got to say, okay, this team is going to be a top 10 offense, that's how bad you are defensively. If I look at the bottom, 25, like Pittsburgh, it's like you should be better. Yeah, what it is, Stick, is you're saying we should be.
Yes.
We could be, but we're not. We're the same old Lions differently, and 30th is where you rank. At least you got the respect that you're ahead of the team you beat.
Flannel?
There it is.
Yeah, they
tell
put
you
us
how
above
many
the
times in the
Commanders.
past did that not happen, right? At least you're ranked ahead of the team you beat. That never happens before.
Flannel, you're an analytical guy. You're a numbers guy. Is 30th fair for the Lions?
Unfortunately, it is fair. And here's why. The first quarter of...
All right, but what would you rank him? 12?
Number 1 in my heart.
God.
The first quarter...
You should be fired.
The first quarter...
Yeah, easy is in the fireable because we're going to abuse him. Sticks is a flat on fire.
No, but the first quarter of the season was such a missed opportunity for the Lions. You had 2 very easily winnable games. One of them they did win against the Commanders, and the next one against the Seahawks at home, they blew because their defense completely choked and gave up 41 points. If you look at teams ahead of them, teams that the Lions are going to play later in the season, teams that you thought were going to be bad, look at the Bears. They found a way to beat the San Francisco 49ers at home. They're 2-2. Look at the Giants. They found a way to go into Tennessee and beat them, and they're 3-1. What about the Jets? Another team that they're going to play, a team that was not supposed to be very good. They go into Cleveland and they go into Pittsburgh, and they found a way. And what about the Seahawks that just came off basically baptizing our defense? They found a way to win the opening game against Denver, a game in which Russell Wilson was coming back to Seattle emotionally charged. The Seahawks were like, we got this one. And then in the last game, they beat the Lions on the road in a game that they were not supposed to win, and they're 2-2. All of these 2-2 teams that the Lions looked at as, these teams are not very good, they're beneath us, they're winnable on our schedule, they're finding ways to win those games. And I haven't even got to the Jacksonville Jaguars, last year's worst team in the league. They find a way to beat the absolute brakes off of the Colts at home and then go at Los Angeles, play the Chargers on the road, and beat the brakes off of them. They're 2-2. The Lions are exactly where they deserve to be at 30 because they are 1-3, and that's the only metric. They didn't win. They blew this first quarter of the season. It was such a missed opportunity. And for that, I'm glad they're ranked 30 because that's where they deserve to be.
Bears got 2
Here's
goals.
the other thing, Mr. Honolulu Blue and Silver.
Yes, sir.
You have 3 losses, and you have 3 home games.
That's
you
tough.
played 3 out of 4. Now, if it had been 3 out of 4 on the road, I feel a little bit better about them.
No, I'm with you.
But now
they fumbled.
They got to win, to be decent, they got to win 3 or 4 road games now.
And they haven't won one road game under Dan Campbell yet.
Right.
Not one.
Zitis.
0. Zilch. Spence, what do you think about us being ranked number 30?
Yeah, I mean, I could fight for a couple spots. I think we're better than the Panthers. I think we're better than maybe some other teams on there, but I'm not mad about it. They haven't done enough. Like Sam said, they are 1-3. That's just how it is. That's where they are. Their defense is the worst in the NFL, so that's what it is. It's tough to swallow, but I agree, Terry. The biggest thing is that, they played 3 road games, 3 home games, and they're 1-3. And like you said, they haven't won a road game under Dan Campbell, so I have no faith saying they're going to go to Foxborough and beat Bill Belichick. I have no faith saying they're going to go to Dallas and beat the Cowboys. And then we have Miami coming home, and then we have Green Bay, and we're looking like it looks like it's going to be 4 losses in a row pretty soon. So it's tough.
Ugh. 4 losses in a row. Where do you think that leaves Dan Campbell, D-Mac?
No, it's the clock. And if it's improvement, how do they lose? What happens? Do we see some sort of improvement? What's the message? Terry mentioned he ain't going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get rid of coaches before you get rid of, the head coach. I would expect during the season anyways if there was going to be a change.
But we can have the debate. I know Dan Campbell's not going anywhere, and if I was in charge, I would not fire him. But I don't know why we can't at least have the discussion about this man and his job. Dan Campbell is 4-16-1. He's never won a road game. He talks a good game, but we can at least have the discussion, should this man keep his job?
And that's the thing. When you sign a guy to a 6-year contract, it kind of puts you in no man's land in year 1 and 2, right? Because even if he does fall flat on his face, you've invested more time into him. I think a 4-year contract, I think we'd all be having a different conversation right now, too. Do you think the 6 year is kind of a safety net for him at this point?
I find it curious that Dan Campbell got a longer contract than Brad Holmes. So there's more confidence in Campbell than it is in Brad Holmes. And so far, Brad Holmes, in my mind, has done a better job than Dan Campbell has.
I don't think that's debatable, right? That's one of the questions that Neil Rule brought up last week because of how well Brad Holmes has been doing. Is it upping the heat on Dan Campbell?
I know, but this week the discussion was one, the defensive coordinator, should he be fired? Second was Brad Holmes, and there's been no mention of Dan Campbell. I mean, he's gone unscathed as far as discussion is concerned.
Do you guys, is this Dan Campbell's? I see this, Mark Walston in the chat thread said this is year 1 for the coach. Last year was a wash because of
no roster.
Is that play into it too? Like I would say almost when the team changed, when they got rid of Anthony Lynn, Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson took over off. Like Goff changed. I mean, the offensive changed. Now the defense is still doldrums, or we don't know what we have. You guys happen, but we have progressed. You can't say this team hasn't gotten better on one side of the ball under this coach. So that dismay, as bad as the one is, the others, he's doing a good job on the other side. So he's got time.
I can answer that. I'm going to ask Stick a question.
Uh-oh.
Give me one word to describe Matt Patricia as coach of the Detroit Lions.
Failure.
Okay.
It's hot garbage.
Is that hyphenated?
Is that one word or two?
It depends. But it's 2. But
failure.
Who has a higher win percentage as a coach, Dan Campbell or Matt Patricia?
That's a context question, though, because one took over a 9-7 team, the other one took over a team from Matt Patricia.
Okay.
If Dan Campbell was handed a 9-7 team, I'd be. Facts are facts. Patricia has a better record than Dan Campbell. Those are facts, but it's also a fact that they took over a 9-7 team compared to whatever the hell we were.
And it's also a fact that they take it personal. They can do something about it this weekend.
That's true. That's very true.
I'm into personal stuff. I'm into more payback to pay it for it. Remember that.
Yeah, but it's getting worse.
But
you know what?
The old adage, it's got to get worse before it gets better.
It's always darkest before the dawn, Terry.
Wow.
Okay, whatever.
And that's what I thought Matt Patricia was. I thought he was the darkness. We're still in the darkness. I don't like this.
Right.
Yeah, but you got to like it better. I mean, there was no hope with him.
Right.
Quinn, because you couldn't get behind anything. At least there's some hope here. I'm not there is some hope that we're actually still moving. It's just which way.
Yeah, but you know what? You can't go 4-16-1 and talk about hope.
You know what? But I can win Sunday. I can win Sunday. I can tell hope. I got nothing else to do, Terry.
You know what my dad used to say?
What do you want me to do? Is it okay? You know what? Guess what, Lions fans? The last 50 years, the last 60 years, it's the same thing. Forget about it.
But it's
not going to make the difference.
It is.
Until it's not. So if you want to bring up the conversation that you don't think Dan Campbell's going to get fired, but we can have this conversation, we got to have the same conversation, does it get better? Until it doesn't, and until he needs to be gone. Because if we're not getting rid of him, if he ain't Al Avila and ain't anything like that, then why waste your time? Because we're still going to invest it and turn it on. This weekend's personal for all of them. I hope they're frothing at the mouth and they all have Matt Patricia photos up there or whatever for whatever they did to get out from behind whatever it is. Your points are right. He's got to coach better. He's got to be a better coach, right? All throughout the board. But what are you going to do? You're either not going to watch or you're going to watch. I think that he will get better. And that's why I set the clock up, so I'm willing to wait till the clock runs out.
Yeah, well, it should be personal for the Lions. You know what else is personal?
That would be Mike Phillips.
That's
Looking
right.
to buy or sell your home, whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy, sell, or invest is Michael Phillips' top priority. Being in the game for 23 years makes Mike the #1 option for anyone. If you have real estate needs, call Michael Phillips at 313-403-0011. Again, that's 313-403-0011. This is Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to Big D Energy, live on woodwardsports.com. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule, who will be back tomorrow. He went out of town, he went to Florida, then he'll be back tomorrow for Friday's show.
Always in Florida.
The soccer games, lots of soccer games in Florida for some reason.
Yeah, that's an excuse.
It is
an
But you know
excuse.
what? He goes to Florida, and a lot of the times the soccer games are in different states. So why does he have to go to Florida?
That's a good question. We'll have to ask Neil Rule when he gets back.
We won't get an
I
answer.
ain't balling like that, so I don't know. I stay
Okay.
here. I stay local.
I'm sure he'll say, oh, we have these super sweet studios, and it's the only place in the world that we can get them.
Well, we got Darren McCarty up on the stage. Terry Foster is here. Flannel Sam. Easy's in the chat because he doesn't have a car to get here because his stuff got towed last night.
That's karma.
For parking
Bad take karma.
illegally. You can't do that, Easy.
Can't park illegally.
Wherever it
guys.
says no parking, don't park there. I think it's pretty simple.
No. They didn't tow his car because he parked it in a stupid place. They towed his car because it was a stupid take on Jared Goff being the blame for the Lions' loss last week.
That was not my favorite take of Easy's. Spencer Raxter, who Easy rolls with you 5 to 7 on the heavyweights. You got to tolerate some of those takes sometimes. Well, let's talk about Jared Goff. Not in the way Easy was talking about it, but let's talk about it as a long-term answer in Detroit, because I think this was a lot of wait and see for some people. Last year, really, at the end of the season, you started to feel better about it. This year, on a torrid pace, I mean, leading the NFL, he led in air yards last week, touchdowns, he ran in a 2-point conversion on an RPO. Jared Goff on an RPO. How are you guys feeling about Jared Goff? Is that the long-term solution, or do you still wish, like Maz, that we drafted Malik Willis?
No, I think that everything we've seen the continuation of what we saw through half of last year, and the combination that the communication between Ben Johnson and Jared Goff is as good as any offensive coordinator quarterback in the league right now. So you hope that continues. You mentioned when you got Jared Goff in an RPO, that means that playbook is open. That means there's confidence. That means there's confidence. So go take yourself into practice. Take yourself into all the stuff that you were mentioning about the conversation that they caught on the hot mics between Ben Johnson and Jared Goff, where Johnson said, oh, sorry, couldn't get the ball back. He goes, no, we're having fun. We're playing hard. We're doing all this stuff. That's fun. I can relate to that because when we're winning, Terry, you remember being around our dressing rooms and how much, even in practices stuff, we're a bunch of big goofballs and having a good time.
Very goofy.
So that offensive side would have that. How many stupid games and Juice Boys, and there'll always be something goofy going on in the room. But that's part of enjoying your spot, and I think that's the shining light. If you can't put an A+ to the first 4 games on that relationship, at least for your quarterback, we're not talking about quarterback. Everything we did last year was talk about quarterback, this guy or that. Now, just sit back and go, you don't have to worry about that. You got to worry about defense.
Now, can I answer this as Neil Rule?
Yes. Okay. Salary cap?
Wait.
Yes.
Make sure you put it in Michigan.
Okay. First of all, let me just say, Chief Foss, I know you don't like to hear this, but it's reality. It's finances. Jared Goff makes too much money, and that's going to screw up your salary cap.
Flannel's losing it.
You can't have a quarterback that makes $20 million a year. You just can't do it. T-Foss, I know you're pissed off,
million.
but that's just the way it is.
$50 million. You
Come,
can't.
come my way. So Jared Goff has to go. I know he's playing well, but he makes too damn much money. Gotta go.
And do you believe that?
I'm stuck in the middle.
Okay.
I was a proponent, as soon as this season's over, you got to get rid of his ass. Because quarterbacks make way more money than they should. They take up too much of the salary cap. And the Lions are in a position where it's still not a team with good depth. You still have to bring in more players. You're going to have to bring in some guys that are going to make some money if you want to get serious about this whole thing. But Jared Goff is now playing like a guy that maybe you can overcome that.
So you're coming around on Jared
I'm
Goff.
coming around on him.
T-Foss, you can put Goff in the clock and wait till the end of the year before you have to.
That's right.
Right? So feel free. I mean, you can pull guys out of the clock, put them in if you want. I put them all in there, but you know what? That sounds like you're on clock watch with Jared Goff.
I feel like Terry was a non-believer
I feel
who's
like
slowly turning into a believer.
You know what it is? It's all Sam Flannel influence. Why, Sam? That is the pure example of what you preach. And what is that?
With new information, you're allowed to change your opinion.
That is true.
But to me, this wasn't new information on Goff. Like, Goff has been a good quarterback in this league. He took a team to a Super Bowl.
No,
And he threw one
this
touchdown
is
pass.
new.
he did not take
playoffs.
that.
This
team.
is
You
a
guys,
different-
oh, he did not. Are we going back to the quarterbacks don't win games?
Quarterbacks don't win games
No,
by
no, no.
themselves.
Stick, he
No
took
one
them-
wins a game
Stick,
by
he took them to
themselves,
the
of
play-
course.
Stick, he took them to the playoffs. But if you think he's not the same quarterback.
He's not
a
the same
better
quarterback, but
he's a better quarterback. He's a better leader. He's a person on this team to whatever the evolution. So to Terry's point, no, we had to see this because I didn't see this. You saw cracks of it last year,
Right.
and it's a combination. So to what Terry's saying, to your point,
Right.
He was a good quarterback. He's a better
He's an
quarterback.
evolved
All
quarterback.
right, here we
now.
go.
Is he a
Let
better-
me put him on the spot. All right, and be
Spot him, T.
honest.
Spot him,
I'll
T.
be honest, but wait, hold on one second. I gotta, because Goff haters like this. Goff doesn't give the defense enough time to take a breath. Sorry, we're scoring too often on offense. All right, go ahead, Terry.
All right. Now, tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
At the end of last season, if you had to sign Goff to a $30 million a year contract, would you have done it?
Yes.
Hell no.
Yes, easily. $30 million is nothing compared to what the salary cap's going to be. Like Goff, you think is overpaid now, but $30 million is going to be a bargain for a guy like Goff in 2, 3, 4 years.
This Jared Goff at $30 million, you better resign $35
Right,
million.
but last year's Jared Goff, hell no.
Well, I'm not late to the party. I was always on this ship, Terry. You're just getting aboard, and
Yeah,
I
but-
appreciate
yeah, but no,
that.
no,
I
no,
appreciate
no.
that you saw new information.
Listen, he's making that
you
money
actually
right now.
digested it.
He's earning that money, and what you're going to have is you're probably going to have with the way that all the rest of the quarterback contracts play out. We're waiting for Lamar to get
All right.
his. You saw
Stick-
Rodgers. Is
Stick
he's going to be
lives in a-
valuable.
Stick lives in a fairy tale land.
What, when Jared Goff's good?
No.
And I see it before everybody else?
No.
That one?
The Lions, Tigers, Pistons, and Red Wings are all in rebuilds, right?
Correct, sir.
How many of them are going to finish with championships?
Oof.
One.
I mean,
No, don't poison them.
ideally all 4, right? Isn't that what we're doing this for?
How many are going to finish in championships?
I mean, I'd say 0, right?
What was
No.
the question?
They actually, I don't say 0.
What was the question?
All the teams in Detroit, they're in them rebuilds. How many of those rebuilds are going to end up in championships?
2.
See, that's what I think too.
And all you have to do is go to LCA.
So you think
Right.
both of them will be one in LCA, so Pistons, Red Wings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wants
you know
to say
what?
4 so bad. You know it's not going to be 4.
I know it's not going to be 4, but that's what I want.
And
I
the
can
only-
want
and
and
Terry,
understand.
here's the-
Like, I want Giselle. I know she ain't calling me.
The
I
only
can
reason we
understand these
can't-
things.
The only
Actually,
reason
Giselle
we
is
can't
available
say
now. I know. What's up,
3
girl?
is because we've never seen it in our lifetime. We know what with the hockey and the right. We want it so bad with the football, but we don't know because that's uncharted territory.
No, we haven't seen it in our lifetime. But guess what? It's happened before. Where all 4 teams here
I've been clicking.
had championships. Now, it wasn't in the exact same
Century.
year, but it was like
The Tigers were the outlier, and the Lions, obviously.
They won a World Series in 1943. I'm talking about in the 40s, bro.
Oh God,
it's happened.
That doesn't count.
It does count. They got a banner.
Yeah, it counts if Maz was around.
Yeah.
So Maz was around, so it counts.
Yeah, but that Maz, but the Yankees, they beat the Yankees, so that's all he cares about.
Absolutely.
The 40s, we got to go back to the 40s.
But it's happened.
Yeah, it has.
How often does one city have all 4 championships?
Do you know what the bet?
I don't think ever. I mean, Boston had a good run with basketball, football, and hockey for a while, right? And baseball, so they had a good run. Tampa Bay had a good run with hockey and football, but obviously their baseball team's trash. So that doesn't,
and Detroit would have that, but the clunker is the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Do you know what the brilliance though is? That if that this could be the blessing in disguise. Could be the same old. Could end up the same as it always has, but the turmoil and the stuff that they go through now could make them stronger in the end. I just go from experience in our locker room, and hopefully that in a year, 2, 3 years, 4 years, hopefully we're wrong, Terry.
Well, there is something to be said for that, learning how to win. And you've seen that pass, like, with the 2004 Pistons. That team actually started in, like, 01, right? And with John Barry and Chucky Atkins and those types of guys. Then they get their ass kicked first round of the playoffs. Then they come back the next year, make second round of the playoffs. I love being a part of that growth process. I think nowadays people just expect it to be like, you suck, you're a championship team.
Well, here's the thing, Terry. You know what you're looking for with the Pistons, right? That whatever that's special because you've seen it. I know what I'm looking for with the Red Wings. None of us, unless you better know what it's for the Lions.
Yeah.
Some of us for the Tigers, but we're so far away. So.
Yeah, none of us have seen it with the Lions. But the good news is about the NFL, if you get into the playoffs, you got a puncher's chance of at least getting to the Super Bowl, right? I mean, there aren't many.
Unless you're the Lions.
The last 2 times has not worked out real well for us.
Not the last 5 times.
Yeah. Damn it, Terry. I hate that. You know what's working out real well? Working out at Planet Fitness. Is that me? I'm going to tell you about Planet Fitness. Yeah, Planet Fitness, $10 a month, and you can get that unlimited black card where your fitness is essential. The paper's not in front of me, but that's all right. They have locations all over Metro Detroit, so you slide into your local Planet Fitness and get in there and work out. Plus, they have the massage chairs and all that fun stuff, too. So make sure you go to Planet Fitness, $10 a month. Your fitness is essential.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
At Alta, Uptime Matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. It's fall, folks, so if you have a bog project coming up, you know Alta Rent has you covered. So give them a call today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA.
Uptime, it matters. Welcome back to Big D Energy, live on the Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. We got a bunch of people in the chat, and we're going to get to Ask D-Mac later in the show, so make sure you got your questions ready for that. Darren McCarty on the stage today, Terry Foster in the chair today. Question for D-Mac.
Don't make it hard.
You were known as a fighter, correct?
But no,
or you
physical to get an altercation.
Yes. Did you ever fight one of your teammates?
Did I ever fight? See, I broke up Proby, Primo, my first year. You were probably at practice for that one when Barry Smith tried to get in the way, and You got Proby 6'5", 6'4". You got Primo 6'5", throwing them. And you got Barry Smith 5'5", trying to get in the middle. It's like, get out of there, Barry. Did I ever fight a teammate? Not to come to blows.
Okay.
But
so you never hit anybody?
Oh, dude, I faced up like you want to do it. You know what I mean? So like it never got to that point.
Well, bring Draymond Green and Jordan Poole. You know, they fought. And I'm wondering if that Michigan State stuff played a role in that, or was he just pissed at a teammate?
Draymond Green seems like he's down to squabble whenever. Like he's ready to fight, and he's that antagonist too, to where he'll keep poking you until you swing on him. That's not a bad thing. I love Draymond Green.
Well,
like he's like a Dennis Rodman.
You can't bring
type.
that stuff up without Spence in there to defend the Spartyism. I don't know. I think it's just more of Draymond's got that sandpaper character. I think that, you know, and usually that stuff though will stay in the room. I've seen fights in the room by guys that you wouldn't expect that are wrestling around.
Remember Isaiah Thomas broke his fist.
The thing is, you don't want these guys to hurt each other.
Head.
Yep.
Linemen fight every year.
Miguel Cabrera and Avisail Garcia, they came to blows in the locker room because I believe someone's wife. I don't want to be misquoted.
Wife stuff.
Yep.
Gets in the way. There was
the wife stuff gets in the way.
There was wife stuff.
He just breezed over.
Act like that's not life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But you don't mess with somebody else's
Oh, dude,
wife.
that's a major no-no.
Right.
That's even more faux pas. But I'm saying like the things that come to the heart and the feelings of the heart, no matter what to do, man, woman stuff usually end up not good like that. Jealousy, stuff like this. But there are fights. I think a lot of, you know where you used to see it a lot is like training camp, especially in junior hockey and stuff like that. It's just Well,
that's because guys are trying to prove themselves too.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love fights in,
then when you
in
made
the
it
NFL
to
preseason.
Then when you made it to the pros, made a fact, don't fight in training camp, fight in exhibition season. Go fight the other team's guys trying to make the team.
Well, you saw it last year with Amon-Ra St. Brown in practice. He was fighting. They were going to blows in the preseason, and it was like, all right, this kid's got some fire, and now we've seen almost a year and a half later.
Who was St. Brown at that time? So he had to prove himself.
That's what I'm saying.
I saw that, you like that too, because the guy that we saw in Hard Knocks, and when I was out there for the practice, that Chase Lucas, there was, I think it might have been Hawk, it was Josh Reynolds or whatever, and I was standing off to the sideline, but they came in hot, had to get out of the way, and they were pushing and shoving, and all the guys getting in. But football, it seems like, because it's always in your face, that's where the shortest tempers are.
Right. Yeah, love to see it. Well, let's switch over to some hockey talk for a little bit. I know the Red Wings season's starting very soon. They're playing some preseason games. Who's going to be more vital for the Red Wings to succeed this season? Who's going to be that top player that we're looking for, D-Mac?
Well, is that where you wanted to go? You wanted to start here or after last night? I would just say that I was going to do a segue between what the Lions have going on and the Red Wings is totally different, because now you're going to have to see after these two games that the Wings cut down to a 23-man roster. Right. Now the luxury is that Grand Rapids, which is down the road, is going to get some good players and some young players, but I really don't know, because the word coming out of LCA is guys like Simon Edvidson, right? Elmer Soderblom, Bergeron, different guys. You see the way, I think, in the exhibition season where Philip Zadina and Michael Rasmussen have sort of stepped up. You're seeing different questions. So tough decisions to be made, but good decisions, because when you have that talent, you go into the goaltending, you got guys that can be sent back to junior, or guys that can go to the minors and stuff like that. So decisions we have to be made, which is a luxury. If we go to the big club, I guess the big thing is what I'm looking for this year is Dylan Larkin, obviously, to consistently lead, and we saw last year where him step up, points wise. Now it's about leadership and knowing that he doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all to this team, but he's sort of into the Steve Yzerman, but he's got players around him. What Steve Yzerman did was add to Dylan Larkin his NHL hockey players, whether you're talking about the Matas and the Sherratts on defense, or the Perrons, the Andrew Kopp. I'm really interested to see him, how he's going to affect in and out of the lineup, the David Perrons, all these different guys, and then we got young guys.
Right.
You still got the Lucas Raymonds and stuff like this. To me, the biggest thing, it isn't the individual player, it's the team. Can the team, the concept, you'll hear me preaching whatever, because this is what's preached out of Derek Lalonde from day one, with the 1-1-3, the commitment to defense. When you see this team all bought in and you hear the coach coming out and saying, we're on our way, because in reality, it could take the full season to get everybody to buy in, but it's as a team game. So it's more of the team buy-in to the concepts of where they were the worst last year. Goals against, so you get that goals against down, and penalty killing, right? We get those penalty killing, you get that number, if your penalty kill these years is above 85% to 90%, then you're going to win hockey games, right? And that also goes to your PK with your power play being more effective. Now, I would expect that. They kept Alex Tanguay, a former teammate of mine, specifically, for power play and stuff like this. So they're on their way. But to answer your question, Stick, I look forward, what's the most effective? If this team can evolve as a group, right? I look back, what made us evolve as a group in the 95 season to go to the Cup Finals was implementing the left wing lock, right? So the 1-1-3 is the 2022 version of the left wing lock, but everybody's got to buy into it.
All right.
So I'm curious, is it Soderblom?
Soderblom, yep, the big guy.
Because I always get confused by those little
Stroms and Blooms and Bergerons.
So is Soderblom, now Soderblom going to be like a guy that was dropped onto this roster out of a spaceship, or is he even going to make the roster?
Well,
because you weren't counting on him a few weeks ago.
No, but he's still young. So I wouldn't count on him right now, because he's probably, what he needs is to figure out this ice. You got to remember, right? A lot of these European guys are going from Olympic ice size, which is 200 by 100, to over here, which is 100 by 180, which means the dimensions of the NHL rinks are smaller. It means you don't have as much time. And for a guy who's 6'9", that his biggest asset in today's NHL is his width, because you can't grab guys, right? So if he plays away from you, you can't get the puck from him offensively and defensively, so he's got to learn that. That's a learned skill along with everything else, Terry. So if he makes such an impression to make this team out of training camp, that's a bonus. But I would almost expect him to start in the minors and maybe as he progresses, because you can get ice time down there and all that stuff, because he's still young. He's only 21, I think. So, but it is an asset if you can figure out. Well, he's huge.
Right.
I mean, he's he's a forward Chara. So give him some time. But the thing is, he doesn't have to make it now out of camp. We're not in that position. There's other guys that can play, and I think that's sort of the luxury of what Neil preaches with the draft capital and salary cap. You got talent.
We do have talent.
Maybe can help the Pistons.
Maybe they're in the same ring. I don't know.
Well, it seems like the Red Wings were able to re-rack a lot faster, right, than everybody. They've added veterans. Like with the Pistons, it seems like they're more youth-focused in their growth. Red Wings are just adding talent no matter where they're coming from right now.
Yeah, I think it's a different draft game, and I think it's the money's different, and not as individual, more players putting team together. But at the end of the day, #Weiser playing 1919 in full force. He's full doing force. It. He's continuing to do it. And the biggest thing is, because you know what, Steve Yzerman has more patience than cannabis. I'll tell you that right now. He's got the most patience, and he's going to give it what you want when he wants to give it to you.
Speaking of a guy that does that, Flannel Sam, how you feeling about the Red Wings?
I'm feeling really good. This is the rebuild that I think is the farthest along. They have the GM that was proven. He built that team in Tampa Bay, and he came to Detroit and has built this team to where I believe that they will contend for a Stanley Cup within the next 5 years. Hell, I might even call for them to win one. You draft a guy like Mo Seider, who I think you're going to look back in 10 years and say that he was that franchise-changing player, that superstar that they stole at the number 6 pick overall. And then they do it again next year with Lucas Raymond. And, of course, you see it come to fruition last season with Sider winning Rookie of the Year. And Lucas Raymond, I think, being 3rd, should have been 2nd. And then you combine that with the free agents they were able to sign, the Perrons, the Kops, the Sherratts, Dominic Kubalik, cheap veteran players who provide depth for this team. And like I said yesterday, I haven't even gotten to Jakub Vrana, who's probably going to lead this team in goals, Tyler Bertuzzi and Dylan Larkin, who are mainstays, who are just coming off the best seasons of their career. I am really excited about this team. I think they can contend for a playoff spot this year, and I think you will see them continue to evolve, get deeper into the playoffs, and then maybe in 5 years, you might see them at least in the semifinals, maybe in the finals, maybe even winning it.
What's your one criticism of Steve Yzerman? Do you have any criticism?
Don't you dare. Not in front of Darren McCarty. Not in front of D-Mac. You'll get punched right in the face, Sam.
No. I want to hear if there's a criticism, and then being honest, do you have a criticism to what he's doing?
I can't. I don't have one because of what he walked into coming off of Ken Holland. What he has done with that situation is build it into a team that is one of the most exciting rebuilds, and I think in all of sports. And you're going to see it in the next couple of years. So with what he walked into, with what he's done, no criticisms whatsoever.
Beautiful. Spence, you got anything on the Red Wings? Who do you think is going to lead the way?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm with Sam. I think Vrana's going to be the goal leader in this year. I have Raymond jumping up to 30 this year as well. I think I'm really excited for Neil's guy. You know, we can have him down on the 3rd line, so he's not going to have to worry about going for 25 goals. It's not going to be a necessity. It's going to be addition to this team. And like Sam said, you know, Perron, he will be a big addition. He's going to quarterback that penalty or that power play. He is going to be a guy that can go out there and help get that right. Adding guys like Mata, adding guys like Ben Sherratt to put back there. You know, you put him with Mo Sider, you put somebody next to him so he doesn't have to be this ultimate player, the only defenseman on the team. You know, hopefully you add a guy like Sherratt, and that helps, you know, Hronek kind of take a step forward because it takes some pressure off of him to not have to be the number 2 D-man on this team. He can be more of himself, so he can go down to that second pairing. He can do things like that. So I'm excited for sure. And yeah, you know, Stevie Y, he added legitimate NHL pieces to this team, so we don't have a first line and second line full of guys that should probably be 3rd liners. So that's what I'm excited for.
You know what, Chuck Brewer brings up a great point here. You know, defensively early in the season when you're trying to implement a new system and stuff, guys getting used to each other, you add new names, and it might, you know, first few weeks a little sketchy, you know, as they get it going, but by the end of the year, this team, I am guaranteed when that clock runs out on this season for the Red Wings that this team will be where we need them to be, or we can see where they're going to be at defensively. You know, all the stuff you guys add about the guys, you know, Raymond scoring this, Vrana, yeah, I tend to agree, but we'll have to wait and see that play out. The one thing that I do guarantee is this team will be a lot better defensive team than they were at the end of last season.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely need to tell them about Swiss Insurance, don't we, Sam?
Absolutely. Time to talk about Swiss. No, not the Detroit Lions defense against the Seahawks. Swiss Insurance Group. Did you know that 1 in 6 kids will develop a medical condition that makes them uninsurable? Swiss Insurance can save you money on your auto and home, resulting in no out-of-pocket costs to insure your children. Check with Mark at Swiss Insurance and make sure your family is protected.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi.
With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG. Welcome back to the Woodward Sports Network. WoodwardSports.com is where the chat's going on right now. Thank you guys for being a part of it. We're reading them. We're laughing at some of the comments in here, and we thank you for that. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule today. Darren McCarty up here, Flannel Sam, Terry Foster, and of course, Spencer Raxter. We just got done talking about the Red Wings. Now the other team that plays at LCA. Talking about your Detroit Pistons. And Spence put this question out there. And I love you, Spence, but I think this is such an easy question to answer. But I want to go around the horn and see what everybody's take is on it. Who is going to be more vital for the Pistons to succeed this season? And he put two names down here. You can add your own name to this, but out of these two names, what do you think? Saddiq Bey or Isaiah Stewart? Terry, basketball, let's start with you.
I'm going to go Saddiq Bey. I think he has more talent. He can do more things.
Oh, hold on one second, Terry. We got to switch out the... I think did you turn your mic off?
I'm going to take Saddiq Bey because we mentioned it yesterday and stuff like this, is that he sort of is the one that's going to get forgotten, or not forgotten about, but a guy that with Bogdanovich out there is that if we can hide him and he can be as efficient, you know, last year he set the record for threes and stuff like this, he could be very, very, you know, lethal and used as that, you know, three-point weapon that he should be. So Isaiah Stewart is valuable, but I think Jalen Duren makes a bigger step, especially down low, and will take away from those minutes. So I think Saddiq Bey, it's set up. They know what they have. They proved it last year that they're going to get him the ball to shoot. So I don't see why it doesn't play out that way. And adding Bogdanovich, I think it will be an asset, you know, put more eyes on Bogdanovich and let maybe Bey get, you know, the one-on-ones or be able to get open for those looks.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you with Saddiq Bey, just for the spacing in general. And like you said, Isaiah Stewart kind of getting just pushed down the depth chart at the big man spot. And eventually, I don't even think he's going to start this year. Saddiq Bey will most likely be our starter at the three position, and that does a lot of things for the entire team. I mean, now we got a guy like Jaden Ivey who needs the space so he can use his quickness to get into the lane. He's going to be able to do that. Same thing with Cade Cunningham. He's not much of a slasher type player, but you're giving him more space so he can use his body and his long arms to get to where he needs to go. And then we talked about a little bit yesterday, Saddiq Bey and just his natural shooting ability. The fact that you have to respect that dude in the corner of a Dwayne Casey offense, that's a big deal because it opens up so many things for so many other players. Terry, what you thinking?
The 80s and 90s are not here anymore. So if we were still in the 80s and 90s, it would be Isaiah Stewart because he is a strong guy and he'll kick your ass too. But Saddiq Bey is tailor-made for this new NBA. You need three-point shooters. The mid-range game is not as important as it used to be, so it's definitely him.
My question to you, Terry, and also to you, Stick, is just by listening to you break that down, Stick, is this lineup that we're going to feature not even just the starting lineup, but the guys that we're looking off the bench? They seem like they're supporting each other, like with their assets and they'll make each other better. It's not just like 5 of the same guy out there or whatever like this. If he doesn't score, then it's not going to matter. But all these guys, as you're talking, is that the quickness of the Ivy and the spacing will allow him to do this and him to do that. Do you see it this way with the talent that they're putting, with the assets that each individual player has, that they're becoming more of a team that will make each other better?
Well, yes, I do see that. The only problem with that is, you know, Cade Cunningham is the alpha dog.
Right.
Beyond that, everybody else thinks, I got a shot to be the number 2 dog. So is it going to be conflict with players? That's why I think Dwayne Casey and Cunningham are trying to make sure that we're all boys right now. So when the time comes where you think you should have a bigger role and they're saying no, that you don't go sulk in a corner. And plus, the Pistons are trying to become the next great thing. I think the Pistons and the Cavaliers are positioning themselves that when Boston gets old, when Miami gets old, when Chicago starts to fade, they can be that next thing. So in my mind, the Pistons are competing with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
And you brought up a good point, though, about how they're doing this as a team and how they're kind of bonding, because these guys are going to concerts together. These guys are doing community events together. These guys are always together, no matter where they are. Even when they're doing other things, they're sitting front row at other basketball games together. You can really see the continuity within this young core. But as you mentioned, Cade's the lead dog. Who's going to be that second guy that steps up?
Right.
But I'm glad they're doing it like a team.
And that's going to support Cade.
Right.
It can't be a number 2 guy that steps up and then is jealous of Cade. So they got to watch out. But, when you're building a team, it's not just practice. It's not just film work. It is little things like going to movies together, playing, throwing water balloons at each other. Just stuff like that bonds a team.
Yeah, it's not only in sports, too. It's like, at Woodward sports, too. It's everything. Whenever you're having a good time and you have that camaraderie, Sam will do something that he normally wouldn't do, go above and beyond, because he knows I would do the same for him. And if you don't have that in a team, you're never going to win a damn thing. D-Mac, have you ever been a part of a winning team that didn't get along?
No.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, it doesn't, like, you'll have differences from guy, but the commonality is the team goal, and that's the whole thing. I think, Terry, does the makeup of how they're putting this Pistons team together remind you at all of 'cause I look at, like, Cade's different than Isaiah, but he is the alpha, of this group. Or is there something like that? Because you've mentioned before how Isaiah had Joe. Right, but he also had Vinny, and the fact that Vinny was the 3 that thought he should played as hard as ever, was ready to play, so that when he had to make the free throw at point, he was always ready to play. Do you see the camaraderie? Because there is sort of some sort of conflict, but is there similarity in what's being built there, or am I off?
I think these guys, these young Pistons, at the time. At this stage of their careers, are tighter than the bad boy Pistons. Because the bad boy Pistons, they would go off on their own. They weren't doing as many things together. And I think just the time was different.
Right.
And at the 80s, although I love the 80s for basketball, people just go off on their own. There was 12 different corporations. That's the way Chuck Daly used to describe it.
Yep.
I don't view this Pistons team is 12 different corporations, even though they are, but they still hang out a little bit more, and they do things, and there's just more reasons to be bonded.
Do you think that's because they're all in similar age brackets, too? When you look back at the bad boy Pistons, you had some vets, you had some young guys, you had people trying to be a part of the team. But this team is like everybody's 22 and under. Like they're all about the same age.
I don't think they know any better. I think it's still cool for them to go to a restaurant downtown together. It's like a big thrill. I don't think that was the case with the bad boy Pistons, because first of all, they played in Auburn Hills.
Right.
And they did do things together, but not at this rate. Now, here's what I'd be curious about. When the team plane lands from a road trip, these guys back in the 2004 Pistons, they were like, we're not going home. It's still midnight at 12:30. We're going to go play pool together. Now, this current Pistons team, what do they do when the plane lands? Do they all go home and rest up, or are they still hanging out together? I think that plays a big role, too.
Yeah, I think you see that more on the road. Is in other towns, is that's when guys hang out, or who's going to dinner together, who's going to a movie, or who's hanging out on the road. At home you got more responsibilities, but to your point, these guys are a lot younger, so they don't have the families and stuff yet, so are they still hanging out? Because it is, I forgot, you say 12 o'clock and I'm like
yeah, right.
No, that's when the party just starts.
Only bad stuff happens after midnight.
Stick's like, man, I just got out of the shower and got my lounge lizard.
No, but
little pregame action before 12 o'clock, and then we head on out.
If I'm in a plane and it's landed at midnight, as soon as I get off that sucker, I'm going home. But the older Pistons, they're like, we going out. We still hanging out a little bit. Because maybe you had some conversation on the plane you didn't finish. Maybe you're feeling good about your pool game and you want to kick somebody's ass in pool. So they would still hang out when they came back from a road trip. And I'm wondering if these young guys are doing that too. They probably are, but I don't know that.
Well, you see it on their social media. You know, they're in cars together, they're rapping together, they're having a good time. Rob Murphy, the VP now, you know, he used to be a part of the Motor City Cruise. I messaged him the other day, like, man, seems like you guys are having a lot of fun with these guys. And he said, yeah, it's really fun to watch these guys, this young core, grow as like a little family, too. Now that's going to make things tougher down the road. If they get too close-knit, you got to start making trades and whatnot, but that's where the professional aspect of sports comes in, and you understand that at the end of the day, it is a business.
Well, they all have agents.
Yes.
And those agents are telling them no matter how much you love it there, no matter how close you are with somebody, somebody's going to get traded. Somebody's going to get released. It's a business. That's the number one thing. So don't get too cozy because...
But still be boys.
Right.
It's
such
still be weird.
boys, but
right.
At some point, your boy is going to be your enemy or could be your enemy.
It's so wild to think about. Like, imagine if that was everyday life too. Like, you work, you work at a gas station. It's like, sorry, you're traded from Speedway to Mobile down the street, and we got back like a vending machine for you.
Right.
Like, and the guys you work with now, you need to compete against. It's just
right.
Strange concept that only exists in sports. And I've got to tell you about the Sports Marketing Agency. They have a podcast called This is the S Word, and the S word is stigma. And that's what they're hoping to do, break down the stigma when you come forth to talk about mental health or substance abuse. And they are here for you. Braylon Edwards, Lomas Brown, Devin Gardner, and so many else. So many other people have spoken on these panels and are there for you to hear their stories. So go to thesportsma.com right now. That is thesportsma.com.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991? Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
What's going on, everybody? It's Spencer for the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck. You know it. You've heard of it. It's the home of the original football bowling pin game called Fulling. 2 different ways you can play. They've got $12 open unlimited play, as well as private land reservation for $120 if you get thirsty. They have a $2 mystery beer vending machine, or if you want to make a decision, they have multiple fully loaded bars for you to choose from. So make sure you come check them out in Hamtramck in person, or visit them online at fullingwarehouse.com.
Welcome back to Big D Energy, live on Woodward Sports Network at woodwardsports.com. I'm checking out our merch store right now. We put about 50 new designs up on the merch store, so if you guys are looking for some Woodward Sports stuff, make sure you head there right now and check it out. Some of those are awesome designs. Some Jared Goff stuff, which is pretty cool up there. And then we got some Lions stuff, we got some Pistons stuff, Dan Campbell. So make sure you go to woodwardsports.com and click on shop. Darren McCarty up here, Flannel Sam, Terry Foster, and you just heard the beautiful voice of Spencer Raxter telling you about the Fulling Warehouse, baby. Can we pour out some liquor for the Lions this season, or for the Tigers? I mean, the season's over. It's dead. They didn't end up with losing 100 games, so that was nice. It's some measure of success. Thank you. Getting me back into the spirit. Hopes were so high going into April on opening day. But Scott Harris, today is like his first official day of being in charge of the Tigers. What is his biggest need, and what is the first thing that he would do or you would do if it was your first day with the Tigers? Terry, let's start with you.
Well, looking long term, you've got to take chances with this team. First of all, I don't think this fan base can go through a 5 or 6 year rebuild. So I would meet with Chris Ilitch And I said, Chris, here are guys I want to keep, here are guys I want to get rid of. But I want to be more aggressive in free agency. And I know that's not normally the way you do it when you lose 96 games. But I have to do this quickly. I want to make sure that there's a reason to go to the ballpark. So I would talk to the guy with the money. Can we be more aggressive free agent wise, and can we spend some more money?
No.
You'd say no.
No, I'm telling you what Chris Oates just said.
Oh. I was like, D-Mac, you'd say no to that.
Oh,
no, I'm saying what your answer is no, you got no more money. Figure it out. I brought you in here, smart guy. So what are you going to do now?
I quit. Find yourself another
Yeah, I'd
league.
say this is a non-salary cap league, buddy. We can buy a championship tomorrow if we really wanted to. So pony up, Illiches. You just got the NFL contract.
And
you're good to go.
The thing I do not understand about Chris Illich is if you have a team that's competitive, you are going to fill up that ballpark. Like this year, I think if the Tigers were a 500 team, which is nothing, man, they would have made so much money and so many people would have gone to the ballpark. But when you don't spend and you got a horse bleep team out there, people, you know what? I got something else to do on my Sunday or my summer Sunday or whatever.
I think Matt Shepard nailed it. If you haven't seen the post-game diatribe that he spilled out, it's just pretty much,
which was good. He got out of that valley, so we got to say whatever the ball club wants us to say.
No, he's had enough. I always, joke, but don't joke about Virgilio got paroled yesterday, from the Tigers. But Matt Shepard all year long having to do that, and pretty much Cole's notes of what he said beside Jack Morris and Dan Petrie, part of the '84 World Series, is like 40 years, almost 40 years since you guys have been here, and we had a couple cups of coffee, a couple teams and that. But we got to be better. You got to do better organizationally, get guys in. This is just unacceptable to the point. And I think that if you get a chance to watch it, he nailed what a lot of us fans have wanted to say. And I think it's refreshing when you hear the guy that brings you, the television games all the time, that he's a human being. And the thing about Matt Shepard, knowing him personally, being from Detroit and being a Tiger fan as much as I am growing up with it, I mean, enough's enough. So I would expect that there's no money to be spent, because Chris Illich said it's not his dad, it's not Mike going to throw money around. Plus, Terry, you always say this ain't a destination place, right? It's not like you're going to get top guys to come here or whatever. You have to sell it for it. So
you can still get the second-rate guys.
No. But that's not. Yeah, and look, what does that get you? Get you Javi Baez
it gets you better than what you had this year.
What?
It gets you better than what you were last year. They won 66 games.
Did Javi Baez make your team better this year?
Well,
was this team better than the team was last year?
Had holes in his game.
Okay, but that's fine. But what I'm saying is, if that's your high mark of the guys that you're going to get, is that second tier guy, then you know what?
We lost 11 more games.
Even if Javi Baez kicked ass this year, you had a whole bunch of dudes batting 220 and 210.
I get it. It's a team thing. So to me, it's organizational. I want to, what I'd like to see is some scouts. Some of the things that we don't know about and the names we don't know about who aren't doing the job. You know what the word? I'll let you a little in behind the curtain here. You know what the word on the street is about Tiger scouts? They're gone by the fourth inning. They watch everything on their phones, anyways. They don't spend times in the word on the street is that the Tiger Scouts. So that would make sense if that's true, right? What?
They're bored like the rest of us.
But what I'm saying,
done.
But you, if you do your job and you're bringing in different guys, if that's the Red Wing organization because of the guys that they're drafted and they're leaving after the second period, well, good. It's not affecting the way that they do their job. This is seriously affecting the way. If this is true, I'm not saying it's true. I'm just telling you what you hear, but it would make sense. So that has to change.
So what would be the first thing that you do then? Day one, you walk into the Tigers.
I'm blowing up guys I don't even know their names.
Just a cut list immediately.
But it's inner management. This scout, Eastern scout, this guy, this guys that I don't even know. Jimmy Jacobs and down in Tallahassee or whatever, he gone. Because then it's something. Because the guys that we don't know are the ones that are, from what I'm being told, messing up this organization. Why do I say that? Because there's nothing in the cupboard for Mother Hubbard. So it'll be interesting. I think Scott Harris's first move, and I think that why he hasn't done it yet, is because it's an imperative first step to making something different for this organization.
Yeah, I had a boss once that came into a radio station. He looked at me and he was like, hey, man, sometimes you just got to re-rack the whole damn thing. And that's exactly what he did. Mm-hmm. All the talent was moved. All the pieces behind were moved and ended up turning into a pretty damn good radio station. Sam, what about you? What do you think that Scott Harris should do day one, year one, off-season one?
I think he should dive deep into analytics because here was the biggest problem with the Tigers last year. When you go to Baseball Reference and you look up the 2022 Tigers, it lists their lineup that was the most consistent all throughout the year. 7 out of the 9 of them had on-base percentages that were under 300. That started with a 2, which is terrible. None of them had OPSs over 700. The only players that had OPSs over 700 were Eric Haas and Kerry Carpenter, but Kerry Carpenter only played 24 games. This is the problem with the Detroit Tigers. I would like to quote one of my favorite songs. This is what every single Tiger needs to learn how to do and what they need to preach. These are the type of players they need to get. They need to take a walk, as the great Passion Pit would say. Embrace walking. Embrace having a disciplined strike zone. Because that is the biggest problem with the Tigers. They don't get on base, and they also have no power, but it all starts with getting on base, and nobody on this team really knows how to do that at a consistent level, save for maybe Riley Green, but even his was only 321, and that's what they preach when it comes to analytical baseball, is get people who can get on base, because the inning can literally not end until there are 3 outs, and the Tigers just did not do it at a consistent level, and if you had a few players that maybe had on-base percentages of over 300, this team could have been a lot better. Like a guy like Javier Baez, for example, his on-base percentage was terrible throughout his career. It was like 302. He comes here, and this year it's 278. It was very predictable. If you would have gotten a guy like, I don't know, Carlos Correa, who I still
we offered him a contract.
And they should have offered him more because his on-base percentage was 366, which would have led the team by leaps and bounds. He would have been the best player on this team by a mile, but they were like, no, I'll get Javier Baez instead. So I want analytics to be preached, analytics to be followed. I want people who can get on base.
And those are all nice things, but you know what would have gotten us Carrera? Money. Analytics are nice. We could study those all day, but if we're not going to pony up and get the guys that actually perform, it doesn't really matter, and that's where I'm at. If I'm Scott Harris, I do what Terry said. Hey, I need a blank check right now. You want me to put a winning team on this field? Give me the blank check. Last time you guys had a $200 million payroll, you were perennially in the playoffs. You were competing for World Series. We've stripped that down. We're in the bottom third of the league. And look at the results on the field. You want 40,000 people in those stands spending an average of $100 each? So I'm talking about bringing you in money every single game. Give me money, and I can do that for you. And he has to make that demand.
The only pushback I will give to that, and I agree with you 100%, I think if you had smarter people making the decisions, you would realize that...
Money covers up a lot of stupidity.
No, I understand that, but I think you should have realized if you're... I mean, Alavila obviously didn't, but if you're Scott Harris, you should understand how much more valuable a Carlos Correa is than a Javier Baez. Because if you look at their home run and RBI numbers and average numbers, you would think they were similar players. But if you look at their on-base percentages, you realize that Carlos Correa gets on base at a hell of a higher clip than Javier Baez. I think it's 350 to like 303, which is a huge difference. And that is why you pay big money for a guy like Carlos Correa. Even if it's a lot more than Javier Baez, you write the check, you do it. They should have done it. They'll regret it.
But here's the thing we don't know. Didn't Carlos Correa and A.J. Hinch have lunch?
Yeah, 4-hour lunch, bro.
Right. Were they just talking about the pork chops and the mashed potatoes? No.
Horticulture.
No, Hinch was probably recruiting him. Come to Detroit. Now, maybe your boy Chris Illich said, "No, we're not
paying him the money.
Go that deep."
Real quick, away fan brought up a good point. Lightning round. I'm gonna go around the room. If you're gonna make a decision, you're gonna fire one of these guys. Is the hitting coach or the pitching coach?
Hitting.
Hit.
Hitting for sure.
Okay.
Hitting.
Yep.
Away fan, we are all lockstep 5-0 on the hitting coach.
Chris Fenner's doing a good job. I mean, he didn't have, Erod for 70% of the year. He didn't have Casey Mize or Tariq Skubal for a long time.
And what he did with Skubal at the beginning of the year, for legit pitchers. So, yeah, give him another chance. If you want a chance, talking about chances, as I gaze to the beautiful people getting their hair cut or delivering the haircuts at Lady Jane's Haircut, 168 of them across the country. So come to Lady Jane's for award-winning haircutting experience. Register for the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win a down payment for your dream home. Yes, up to $200,000. Yes, $200,000. So get to Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
If you are a betting man, woman, child, well, you got to be at least 18, so hopefully you aren't a betting child. But either way, Odds Trader, they can get you the best betting odds from all the sports books all across the nation. They compile it in one easy area for you to find. So, hey, you like the Tigers to win maybe a little more than 66 games next year? One book may have them at 66, another one may have them at 65, another one may have them at 60. Who knows? But Odds Trader does the hard work for you, so you can get the best bet for your money. Go to oddstrader.com today to check out all the best bets. We are live on woodwardsports.com right now. Welcome to Big D Energy on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Stick, filling in for Neil Rule, who will be back tomorrow. Darren McCarty is here. Terry Foster is here. Flannel Sam, and of course, Spencer Raxter. And don't forget to tune back in from 5 to 7 to watch Spence and Easy go at it on the heavyweights.
Easy's playing, dude, where's my car?
Yeah, Easy's going to be remote today.
Woodward Heavyweights. Dude, where's my car?
Easy just out of breath walking here right now.
Yeah, he's grumbling. Release Jared Goff. He cost the Lions the last game.
Rebel, Jared Goff, pick 6. Let's talk about the Lions, though. We spent a lot of time covering them in the first hour. I've been talking about all the other Detroit sports teams here in the second hour. But Aiden Hutchinson, it's becoming a conversation that a lot of people are having. And both of these conversations, the Dan Campbell conversation, the Aiden Hutchinson conversation, you could almost predict them coming if the season is played out the way it has so far. And I'd never want to get into the Dan Campbell's got to go conversation this early in this contract. But when you don't win, this is exactly what happens. And when you don't get to the quarterback, this is exactly what happens. We have to talk about Aiden Hutchinson. He needs to dominate against the Patriots this Sunday. This needs to be kind of a coming out party because he only had that one half. He needs to put together a complete game for the Detroit Lions. What is your level of concern for him at the number 2 pick right now, with him being our number 2 pick? Any concern, or is he still on that same clock too?
Yeah, he's on the clock.
Okay.
And, you want to see development. We could say that through the first four games, he's shown out for 2 quarters. He's got to get better. But I think if you ask the kid, he's going to get better. You know what I'm saying? It's something. He's got the work ethic. Work ethic is a choice, right? He's also got the talent and stuff like this. So I think hopefully things that he's got to make mistakes, right? Over aggressive. Does he learn from those mistakes? That's all you want to see,
right?
And I think how can we, you can't put the gold jacket on the kid. You got to give him at least this first year. At least give him half the season. Give him 8 games. Right, to try to figure it out, playing in a new league and stuff like this. Now, this weekend will be a great test because if he can do something against the Bill Belichick team, Matt Patricia's the offensive coordinator, so this is a little personal here. So, you know what, if you like your coach that much and you are from here, Aiden, you know what Patricia did to your Lions, you should take this a little bit more personal. And maybe put Bailey Zappi on his butt, or at least, when we're watching the game where Sam says, hey, you know what? Aiden Hutchinson made a play. Charles Harris made a play. The defense made that play that we were looking them to make, and you know what? Hence, maybe we look at the end of the day and they won the game. So I'm not too concerned.
Just make a play.
The motor's there. It's just he's got to. I don't think the brain is up to the speed, but the intricacies of the old boy network.
I think we're thinking along similar lines. I'm concerned because I'm not worried about the motor, but I think he needs better coaching.
Amen.
I think what's happening with Aiden Hutchinson is the coaching staff is letting him down. The coaching staff is leading him to areas on the field where he shouldn't be. But when you actually look at him play, he's doing some things out there. I think he's just putting himself out of position to make plays. And that is a coaching staff that should say, okay, hey, Aiden, here's what our goals are on each play. Here's what we need you to do. Here's what I know that you can do. And maybe sometimes it's pulling back a little bit.
So that was going to be my question. Do you think it's lack of coaching or over-coaching?
Lack of coaching.
Okay.
I think it goes down to the scheme, too, right? What we've been talking about is that...
Yeah. But if he gets the right coaching, I think the concerns we have about Aiden Hutchinson would disappear. And he may not get the 12 sacks that Flannel's talking about, but he can be a productive member of this.
Do we have a defensive tackle coach? Do we have a defensive...
D-line coach.
D-line. They handle them all.
Okay.
Flannel Sam. Obviously... Aiden Hutchinson, Slappy, favorite player of all time at Michigan. Are you starting to get concerned that he's disappeared for all but one half of 4 games?
Concerned, it's yes, but it's not dialed up to, red alert because it is still early in his career. He's only played 4 games. I think he will improve, although I did say it last week. I thought last week was going to be his coming out party. It obviously was not, but he still has time. My more concern is that I don't know if my prediction of him getting 12 sacks and Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to hold true. That's more what I'm concerned about. But despite all the negative things about him, despite the fact that he's disappeared in some games, he has gotten some pressures, even though they're not always effective pressures, particularly against the Eagles when Jalen Hurts was able to just sidestep. They weren't disciplined. And he got a hit last week against Geno Smith, one where hey, I know, right? He really lit him up, but Geno Smith was able to flutter the ball to a wide-open Tyler Lockett. So there's a lot of merit to it's more of a team defensive issue than Aiden Hutchinson alone because we still saw him completely wreck a first half for the Washington Commanders. Washington was shut out in that half, and Aiden Hutchinson had 3 sacks. And I don't know if the Lions win that game without Aiden Hutchinson dominating that first half because they were able to take such a lead that even when Washington kind of came back a little bit, it was too little too late. I'm not concerned per se, but I do need to see more going forward, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. And this is another one of those games coming up against New England. You got to get to the quarterback. You got to make a play because a lot of us are saying that the season is over right now for the Lions. If they lose at New England with Bailey Zappi as their quarterback and Matt Patricia as their offensive coordinator, it's shameful, it's embarrassing, and every single Lions fan probably in the world will be like, that's it, we're starting tanking. So this is a big game for Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Spence?
Yeah, it's going to be tough because I feel like Bill Belichick is going to try to take away Aiden Hutchinson because that's what he does. I mean, he looks at the team's biggest weapon and tries to take him out of the game. And as little success that he's had on the season so far, he probably is our biggest weapon on that pass rush and on that defense. So I have a feeling they're going to be going away from him a lot. But he still needs to get in there. He needs to make it happen, like you said, against I don't know if Mac Jones is going to be ready to play or not. I saw him listed as questionable. I saw Hoyer listed as questionable. But it's probably going to be Bailey Zappi. And if it is Bailey Zappi, like you got to get in there. You got to kill him.
We lose to a guy named Zappi, man. He's
Beetle Bailey.
Exactly.
The comic books character. But the thing about Aiden Hutchinson, on the D-line in particular in football, you're told, do your job, trust your teammates, or trust your line mate. He's not doing his job. I think he's trying to do too much, and he doesn't trust the person next to him. So now you need to change that mindset.
Well, Josh Paschal hopefully offers him a little bit of help on the defensive line. He's been practicing all week, our second-round pick this year that we haven't seen on the field at all. So if we can give him a couple more tools, maybe that'll help him out. Maybe that'll give him more confidence. I don't know, but something needs to change with Aiden Hutchinson, right?
Well, no, I think to Terry's point is that the coach, when you have the motor and the work ethic, is put him in a better position. So it's tape, and it seems that it's after 4 weeks, and we've seen it only 2 out of 16 weeks. He can't do it himself. I don't care who you are. He's not, he's not an Aaron Donald. He's not a Lawrence Taylor. There's only a few of those players. So just want to see if he's going to improve.
He's the number 2 pick on one of the historically worst defenses in history. He's thinking probably, I got to do more.
Yeah.
But actually, you don't have to do more. You have to, you got to get sacks and everything, but as far as being physical on the football field, you don't have to do more. I think he's doing enough. He's just not, the mental part is not there yet.
Yeah, and I hope that doesn't become a theme for him just because he started out with the defense that was this bad, and he's like you said, trying too hard, doing too much, getting himself out of position because he knows the linebacker isn't going to cover up that hole behind me. So not only do I got to over-pursue it, I got to try to make this entire play happen, and I hope that just doesn't become like his habit.
You nail the point. Are we watching everybody trying to do everybody else's job instead of their own job, right? Because, oh, wow, he's not going to be there, and then you're worried about that. If everybody does their own job, that's what they got to get back to. That's getting back to basics.
Yep,
definitely. On each play, he's trying to stop the run, get to the quarterback, and doing, no, you do one or the other.
Yeah, be a specialist.
Right.
Be a specialist.
Do what you do.
And I'll tell you what, the specialists in energy drinks and health drinks, it's called Syntron, man. They're here. They're at LCA, the official energy drink of LCA. And when you go down there, make sure you grab one. Or if you want to sip one in your house while you're watching the Red Wings, Pistons, or Lions play, go to CintronWorld.com right now /Red Wings and get this limited edition 6-pack with the Red Wings logo right there on it. So CintronWorld.com /Red Wings. Order yours today.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries, what will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Hate it.
Hey, what's going on? It's Stick, and I talked about it yesterday. If you go back and watch the early videos from 2 years ago at Woodward Sports, you're going to see me sitting there kind of like this. I was about 230 pounds, now down to about 190, and I'm telling you, your health makes you feel better in every aspect of life. Even when I play softball, I feel like I'm running faster, and it feels so good. So if you have any issues with your health, make sure you go to Custom Health Centers today. 844-789-8446 is the number. It's quick, it's safe, and you can could start losing up to 20 pounds today. Do it with the Custom Health Centers. Welcome back. It is the Woodward Sports Network live on woodwardsports.com. Thank you for being a part of the chat. It's that time of the show where we do Ask D-Mac, but we also got the legendary Foster in here from Bad Boys 30 for 30, which I still think is one of the coolest damn things I've ever... Like, think about that. ESPN has done a documentary with both of you guys. That's pretty spectacular, honestly, if you think about it.
That's true.
Nice
Always going to be part of history.
Always.
Let me start here, because if you heard us talking in between break, looking in the chat, somebody had asked, have you been in a locker room too, where like literally two teammates hated each other, were most contentious, and you both were saying, Adrian Dantley and Isaiah Thomas, and that was as real as it got.
That was the one. It was.
What was that over?
Huh?
Was it? No,
Dantley thought he was the better player. Dantley thought it was his team, right? I don't want to speak for you,
Dantley thought
Terry.
he was the better player, and that the Pistons should be his team. But Isaiah Thomas was the alpha dog in there, and Dantley didn't want to give up that title.
So how did it play out? Because of the rest of the team, or because of Chuck, or because
they shipped his ass out?
I
They traded him. Chuck. I think the key with that is Chuck Daly grew tired of Adrian Dantley. Chuck Daly wanted a more free-flowing offense, and when you threw it into Dantley, he'd stop the offense, and you'd have to check his hair and everything, and it slowed the offense down, and Chuck Daly got tired of that. And there was this huge argument between Chuck Daly and Adrian Dantley during the game in Boston. And during the game, during the time, they just cussed each other out. And then after the game, normally the Pistons fly out after a game, but you couldn't fly out of Boston.
No, you can't fly out after 10:30.
Right, after 10:30. I think it may be relaxed now, but you couldn't fly out after 10:30.
Because Logan's
so the
in
Pistons
the city.
was still at the hotel, and Chuck was still pissed. After we asked Chuck about the arguments, it's just part of sports and blah, blah, blah. So I had to use that. But afterwards, Chuck was saying, well, we got to get this MF-er, the F out of here.
MF or the F?
Out of here.
From Uncle Chuck. Wow.
So 2 weeks later, AD was traded.
Mark Aguirre, baby.
Mark Aguirre.
Isaiah's boy.
You know what our nickname for Mark Aguirre was? Muffin.
Muffin?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's kind of soft looking. He looked like a muffin.
He looked like a muffin.
He looked soft, but wasn't.
No, he wasn't, but he looked it.
No, he was a hell of a player too.
Was that
it all
the
worked
move
out?
that, obviously, that put the Bad Boys to where they were, but that was like Mark Aguirre as an integral part of that, like that deal to get him.
Right, because Mark Aguirre was willing to give up playing time to Dennis Rodman. He was willing to come off the bench. He was willing to start. He was willing to give up touches.
Team guy. Team guy and they win. Wow.
Still wanted his 20-something points.
Did not want Rodman to start.
Right. Yeah. Did not want Rodman to start or even play.
Yeah. Just not a good team guy, right? He was a me guy, not a team guy. And you don't love that. So another question from the woodwardsports.com chat. This one for you, Darren McCarty, asking the legend D-Mac, will you be attending the 97-98 celebration games this year? Also, who was the toughest matchup for you guys in 98? Much love, gang, and much love back to you, always fan.
Yes.
Or away fan, sorry.
Away fan. Thursday the 3rd is the 97 tribute. We'll be there. The Friday there's a charity hockey game in Grosse Pointe for Stalls. And then Saturday's the 98 team. Toughest team in 98, I would say probably, we always handled it. That year was more than not, but St. Louis was always tough the second round, and then Dallas. So it was we always owned them, but getting through those points was always tough. So I think that 98 was when McGinnis scored on Ozzie from the red line, but he always bounced back. And then Langenbrunner did it in the next series too. And what Ozzie did is always bounce back and win Game 6.
I love this question from Rich Diana in the woodwardsports.com chat. D-Mac, have you ever putted with your hockey stick like Happy Gilmore?
No, but I shouldn't use my putter. Yeah, no. I mean, we putted with hockey stick because they do that as a gimmick on some of the. They actually Ted Lindsay outing. They do it at the practice screen. If you make it, you get a prize or something. So never in a real game. Maybe I should.
And we were just talking to Terry Foster about Adrian Dantley and about how the locker room was kind of pushing away from him. And that's another question in the WoodwardSports.com chat for DMAC. And C. Mallet asked DMAC, have you ever been in a locker room where a player was ostracized? You don't have to name names, it says, but how did the team overcome that? Was there ever one guy that you were like, no, we don't like this guy, just kind of a mutiny against him?
See, you can't. No, because it was already said. Look at the locker room that I was in. If there was anything, anything more than that, guys were sort of like moved out, and it was more of an our dressing room. It was more if Scotty didn't have use for you or didn't think he could win for you and stuff like this. So it was more of his. Like if he didn't like you, then you were done.
And they knew. But the locker room knew this is a dead man walking.
Yeah, pretty much, and I think that when it came down to it, that's the situation. Maybe Sean Burr, Keith Primo, or Dino Cicerelli put themselves in, but that wasn't with the team. That was with the coach. So, and hey, Scotty's way or the highway, right? There's one thing though that you had to fall in line. The one thing, and I'll leave it at this about a Scotty Bowman team or a Steve Eisman team is you have to have hockey IQ. You don't have to be a smart human being, but your hockey IQ has to be off the chart.
Well, appreciate you, D-Mac. Appreciate everybody asking questions in the chat. Thank you guys for letting me fill in for the last 2 days. Thank you guys for being a part of the conversation on WoodwardSports.com.
84 at American Dunes.
This is 84 at American Dunes. This is Big D Energy. Myself, Stick, D-Mac, Terry Foster, Flannel Sam, and Spencer Raxter. We will see you tomorrow. Neil will be back, everybody.